Welcome to the Elevate Podcast, powered by Braden. This is your front row seat to the stories of local leaders, both nonprofit and for-profit, who are shaping our community. Every episode brings you leadership insights, lessons from challenges, and practical strategies you can use today. And yes, we'll keep it real and have some fun along the way. If you're ready to elevate your leadership, hit subscribe and follow us on LinkedIn for updates and behind-the-scenes content. Now, let's dive in. Okay, well, I'll tell you, I'm so excited. This has been a couple of months in the making and years in the making, I think, for Erik. But I'm excited to actually be here for the first episode of the Elevate Podcast, powered by Braden. I'm Jason Ulm. I'll be the host of the show. But the reason why we're doing this is to be able to share some stories of great local individuals. You know, when I thought about how we would kick it off, what a better way to do it than to actually talk to the guy whose idea this was. So Erik, thank you for joining us. Being part of the show. Looking forward to having a conversation with you today, and actually looking forward to sharing the stories of a lot of great people around the city. But Erik, let's kind of start. Let's go to the beginning. Let's get some of your story. I know we're 30 years in the making, from 1989, from your dad starting the business to getting here, but take us back to the beginning. How did things get started for you?
Yeah, it's an amazing journey that's got us to this point. 36 years in the game. Our company was founded in 1989. I was born in 1985. So my dad literally started our company with the fax machine, pre-internet, pre-email, pre-technology in a way.
Yep.
And literally sold fax machines out of my house to start the company. So imagine little Erik was 4 years old. You know, the cojones to go out there and kind of tackle the world, of sales, and, technology wasn't even a thing back then. So my dad went out and journeyed on, and, 36 years in the game, we're still helping, over 10,000 businesses with their technology. So it's incredible.
Over 10,000 businesses, 36 years, starting with the fax machine. There'll be some people watching this show that don't even know what a fax machine is, right? So the evolution of the business over the last 36 years has been terrific. How did you get started? Because you obviously were 4 when the business started, but at some point came into the business. How did you get started, and how did you end up here?
Yeah, so I might be the longest tenured employee because I started in diapers, but other than that, I'm just joking. We do have people that have been here 30 plus years, 35 plus years, which is extremely rare this modern age.
I bet it is.
And that's just what makes me incredibly proud, just to champion our organization in the next chapter, so to speak. And part of the reason why we're doing the podcast is to elevate our people. And we've got 4 generations working in the business. It's just rare and cool. And the stuff we do for, like I said, over 10,000 organizations, for-profit and nonprofit, just needs more attention. We're trying to, bring some of those partners into the mix and elevate their brains and purpose as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So started at 4 years old, started in diapers, but there was a story that I heard that you had gotten yourself onto Wall Street by cold calling, which is pretty rare. So maybe talk us a little bit about what you were doing pre-working here at Braden.
Yeah, so I grew up in our business a little bit. So I, in summers, swept the floors, worked the warehouse, stat boxes. I call the Raiders of Lost Ark. At North Point, we had multiple warehouses all over the city, and boxes, when you're little, they look like they never end. And stacking those, forklifts, you name it. And then also in sales for the summer. So started one of our first online businesses at the time and had fun doing that. But after, I kind of grew up in the business, I went out and basically wanted to work on Wall Street. So I was at the Kelly School of Business down by Bloomington. Sure. And then the investment banking workshop. I went to my dad, I'll never forget, and asked him, hey, do you know anybody on Wall Street? I'd like to go, work in this place called Wall Street. Back then, it wasn't as prominent as it is today.
Sure.
He's like, no, I don't, son, but I know how to do one thing and one thing well, and it's pick up the phone.
So Erik, I can imagine that story. Your dad looking at you and saying, son, I started a business out of our garage, cold calling, selling fax machines. Pick up the phone, call somebody on Wall Street, go get yourself a job. So back then, right, how did you even get started picking up the phone? Who were you calling, and how were you trying to get there?
Yeah. So again, I went to my dad and asked him. He was a somewhat successful businessman, or very successful at the time. And he was like my leader, right? I'm like, hey, you know people on Wall Street, you must, right? Because you're successful in business. I thought it was a small role at the time. He's like, actually, I don't, but I know how to pick up the phone and start making calls. So that's what I did. I picked up the phone every day and called 100 people on Wall Street from every bank I could find, every person I could find online. This is pre LinkedIn, pre any outreach capability. So I was picking up like, the yellow pages, if you will, of that strategy, and started calling this woman out of Bear Stearns in Los Angeles. It was the only one that would really pick up and say, hey, follow back up, follow back up. Over about 8 months, I kept calling her and I wore her down, I think, at the time, and just kept persisting. And she's like, hey, you've done this. Nobody does this at your age. And, you have a job.
So when you go back and you think about that, not many folks pick up the phone and cold call. They don't like to do it. But I'm imagining as you grew up, you saw your dad picking up the phone, calling people, solving problems, helping them with fax machines and moving into copiers at some point right in the business. So seeing that at a young age, I'm sure that really kind of set you in the direction for the way you're running the business today, right?
100%. Work ethic wasn't really an option. It was, as a kid, I would be in the office playing with my dad while he was grinding and working on the weekends at night. He never did miss a ball game, though. That's the other thing that's mission critical for me. We work hard here at Braden. Yeah. But if you miss your kid's Little League game, it's a problem for me. Like, I want to make sure that people prioritize family, state, and purpose outside of work, but also work hard. So that's been ingrained in my DNA from an early age, and I don't plan on changing. But going that extra mile, making that extra call really compounds over time and really shows your results in the long term. So show me your behaviors today, and it ends up your future tomorrow.
That's interesting. And actually, when you and I talked about me potentially coming on board, one of the things that stuck out to me was you've got employees that have been here 30 years. And every business has challenges. Everybody goes through different seasons and challenges in their business. But if you handle those things well, people stay. If you handle those things poorly, people go. That spoke volumes to me. And you could tell that that's been kind of ingrained in you from the beginning. And so tell us, a little bit about Braden now. Obviously started in 89 with fax machines and now so much more. So just talk a little bit more about the business, kind of since you've joined and where has the business gone since that?
Yeah, so after my time at JP Morgan, I spent some time in the private equity space doing leverage buyouts all over the country, sitting on boards, hiring CEOs and C-suite teams and helping them drive value in their business. So bringing that experience to Braden, we've acquired 16 companies as add-on acquisitions into our platform and scale. And I always start with why behind those. So why are we doing this? Is it just to get better and bigger? Or is it to add more value for our stakeholders, which are our clients and our people internally? And each one of those has been like kind of a brick in the armor, so to speak, of elevating our people and our brand over time and filling in some gaps. So when I took over, or joined the team rather, in 2015, we were mainly a copier company. So copiers, printers, managed print services. We're still the largest in the country and one of the best in the category in that regard, and we're still doing more of that and growing pretty rapidly. But our clients kept demanding more from us. And what that was at the time, back in 2016, when we did our first managed IT acquisition, was they wanted us to help more on IT, cybersecurity, things in that arena, and knew that we were excellent at copiers and printers and thought that would translate. So we did get into that through an acquisition and have expanded to be, really now we got rated number 1 in Indiana, number 1 in Chicago, and 116th globally as of 2025, which is absolutely incredible. A testament not to me, but our incredible team. And I really get out of bed every day just to perform my best at the highest level and get better every day because of them and because of our clients and because of now my kids and just what's our legacy got to be. So.
Yeah, it's awesome. When you think about the evolution of the business, starting with fax machines, in technology, moving into copiers, printers, all the things that make marks on paper, and then going into managed IT, you're really anything that's touching a customer's network, we have the ability to help and support. And so when you think about managed services and kind of where business is going, where do you think things are going to go for Braden in the future? And what are some of the new areas that we're focusing on?
Yeah, 100%. So we kind of let our customers lead us through that journey, and we certainly are one step ahead of them, or try to be rather, regardless of their industry and space. So we're in extremely high demand for cybersecurity consulting, and now AI consulting is the new buzzword out there. Sure. We actually actionable outcomes that we're driving for businesses rather than just talk. We actually go do things. As an ex-Wall Street person, there's a lot of talk on the street, right? And it's a lot of, BS, to be quite frank. We actually do what we say we're going to do and do it well with excellence. Otherwise, we're not going to do it. I'm very big on making sure the scope and the lane we are with clients delivers that, 98% net promoter score, which is what we actually achieve in real time. There's no reason why we should take on a client that we're not a good fit for, and vice versa. So that's why we've become the excellent, in our niche or in our category. And we continue to expand upon that, but only with the best in class solutions that drive value for that business over the long term. So we have clients that have been with us 35 years, 25 years, 20 years. I mean, really, the old joke around here is once they're with us, they never leave us. We don't take that for granted. We have to get up every day and deliver value. And especially the modern age where you're competing with the real timeness of Amazon and whatnot, we have to continue to deliver at the level of exceeding expectations. That's what my dad founded our company on, exceeding expectations, both internally to each other and that drives externally to our client. That is our mission critical value. And that's why the flywheel of success compounds and continues.
Wow. I mean, just amazing to see the growth of the organization over these last years and where it's going to continue to go. But one of the things that also spoke to me personally was just the heart for our people, right? The heart for our community. And really giving back. And one of the things, only being here just a few months, I've really noticed our heart for the community and the nonprofits that we support. Tell me a little bit, where did that start? Why go down that path? Because we truly do give back quite a bit. We just did some things with Gleaners and Braden Smith. But talk a little bit about where that heart came from and some of the organization we're passing from.
Yeah, it's really something I was born into and born with. I mean, I got a lucky hand in life with, obviously more people know about my dad who's founded the company and it's still with us today as far as our leadership's concerned. But my mom really instilled values in us from a very young age. I mean, we didn't grow up with much, but we'd also go on our own to give toys and food to folks in the community when we had nothing back then. Yeah. A funny story rather is they always tell, like, one time we showed up to give some groceries and some toys to a family in need, and we walk in and they had a fish tank. And I'm like, wait, I don't have a fish tank. What's going on with this? So it was kind of a backfired approach there a little bit, but ultimately faith is huge in our family too. Growing up in the church and those values, we actually live them.
So Erik, when you think about your passion for the community, you talked a lot about your mom and your dad instilling that into you. From a business perspective, one of the things you had talked about doing or wanted to do was to start a podcast. Mm-hmm. So talk to me a little bit about what was the genesis, the thoughts, what were you trying to accomplish with getting a podcast started?
Yeah, there's quite a few things that go into kind of a podcast strategy, but ultimately what I wanted to do is really elevate people in our community and stories that need to be told, and both for-profit and nonprofit. And again, going back to just turning 40, my grandma passing, I really just want to do more about elevating purpose in the community. Again, outside of four walls and also inside our four walls, elevating the people that are in our organization, give them more opportunities, upward mobility, and really share, kind of the best hidden secret, which is our company, and add more value to organizations, whether it's from a technology perspective, whether it's a copier, printer, managed IT services, or AI consulting going into the future. We can help you across the board, but also help those organizations elevate their brand and their purpose and their mission. I'm a big believer in local elevation, especially in the world of Google, Amazon. No offense to those companies, but I'm on the Main Street now. So again, I came from Wall Street, but I want to elevate Main Street. So there's a big part of that too. And, just the things that we can do. Again, my faith aligned with the nonprofit elevation and telling more of those stories and really giving them a platform from a business perspective and business channel. My network's more CEO focused in the for-profit space and really bringing the nonprofits up to my circle and also the faith-based community. You're going to see a lot of maybe pastors who are running some of the larger organizations, here in Central Indiana and beyond, to elevate their platforms, which is really an internal purpose, which for me is extremely important no matter what your faith believes in. They're doing a lot of good things in these large churches like Traders Point, et cetera. But we're going to be telling those stories as well. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. Traders Point, both you and I go to Traders Point. It's going to be fun to share the stories of what's going on there. Giving organizations a platform and an opportunity to talk about what they do. These are great individuals in different areas of business, for-profit and nonprofit. They're just like you. They have a heart for the community. They can serve others, but the best thing I think we can do is give them a venue or an option to be able to tell more people about what they do. And so when you and I first started talking, it was fun to think about putting together a podcast. And so over the last couple of months, we've been reaching out to a lot of folks, and there is a whole bunch of people that are ready to go. We're going to get episodes ready for launching in January. But I'll tell you, some of the people we've talked to, their stories are awesome. I mean, I spent an hour this morning talking to somebody, and I'm like, man, we got to save some of this for the show. This is terrific, but terrific idea. And Erik, I couldn't be more happy to be on this journey with Braden, with you, and sharing the stories. And so, thank you for what you're doing. And just from a maybe a last comment perspective, anything else you might want to just share with the community before we get ready to launch and go into the episodes in January?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, I believe how this came together is a bit of a God thing, too. I don't know if you feel the same. I've not asked you until this moment. Yeah, we're on campus together. But really, a couple months back, you reached out, or we reached out and got together to we met out on our balcony years reading, and didn't really have an agenda or a reason to talk other than catch up. And I know a lot about you in the community, and the fact that you run a podcast before shares kind of on my mind as far as elevating the community and our brand and purpose and mission, as well as others in the community. And your skill set and your talent and just who you are as a person really aligned with me. And it was like God telling me, hey, this is the next chapter. Let's lean into this. And, again, I used to be on the Wall Street side of the equation in big corporate America. You spent some time out there as well.
That's right.
I could pull on those heartstrings a little bit from the standpoint of, why do you do what you do?
Yeah.
You can go do the one all day, but do you really feel like you're excited to have bed every morning? Or is it another, go chasing the next quarter? So that's really why I'm here at Braden. It's fulfilling for me. We're doing a lot of cool things. And this is the next aspect, to go really one-to-many and tell that story. I do this at lunches one-on-one and YPO, and those situations, folks that are close to me know our story, but telling more of a broader audience, not only our story, but the nonprofits in our community, their story, their impact, and really elevating them, as well as the other local companies that deserve elevation as well. So that's right. Really excited to lead into that.
Yeah, it's actually interesting you brought that up, and we haven't talked about that, but one of the things that you did was you wrote down a job description. Hey, Jason, this is what I'd like you to do. And one of the things that I did was I shared it with my best friend. It's my wife, who'd been married 27 years. And I shared it with, and the first thing she said was, Jason, did you write this? And I said, no. I said, Erik did. And her next words, I'll always remember, you need to go work there. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm there. I know I love my wife, been 27 years, best friends. She read this. She said, this is who you are. And so the things that we're going to create and the fun that we're going to have, stories we're going to share, people we're going to meet, brands we're going to help elevate, an opportunity for us as a business to grow and support our community, I'm in. And so I'm looking forward to this, excited to be on this journey. Be on the lookout. This is going to be a weekly show, great guests, probably about an hour-long format each time when we're together. And every once in a while, I'll have this guy on with me to share some of that conversation with a few individuals that'll be in here, but the guests are awesome and their stories are even better. So look forward for us. We'll have some great marketing out there. You'll know what's going on, I promise. But in January, let's see these episodes drop. And Erik, thank you. 1, for the opportunity. 2, for being who you are and driving our business forward. And 3, for being our first guest.
Bring it on. 2026, here we come. And we can't wait to see you in 2026. If you got anybody you recommend, please reach out to him or me. In the new year, you're going to have some episodes dropping, I believe, in January. We're fired up to see you in 2026.
Awesome. Thank you.